We start off today's wrestling news and rumors video with a rather huge update regarding Vince McMahon's plans for Becky Lynch's return to WWE, because while there have occasionally been unspecific rumors going around that WWE were secretly planning for Becky Lynch to return sometime for the build-up to WrestleMania 37, nothing was set in stone. But apparently, Becky Lynch's return to WWE is now very much planned and penciled in for the road to WrestleMania next year. According to one of our sources, the current plan Vince has in place that Becky Lynch has reportedly agreed to will see Becky make her highly anticipated return to WWE in the ring at the 2021 Royal Rumble during the Women's Royal Rumble match, with Becky Lynch not surprisingly being a favorite to win the match once again. But if she does not end up winning the match, fans can be sure that a storyline would immediately be set up for Lynch beginning at the Royal Rumble, likely with a superstar who would eliminate Becky from the match. As some of you would likely anticipate, we have been told that Ronda Rousey is also slated in to return at the 2021 Royal Rumble, so there's no doubt that an easy storyline for WWE to move ahead with would be Ronda Rousey upsetting Becky Lynch's big return and homecoming in WWE by eliminating Lynch from the Royal Rumble match, and thus rekindling their rivalry heading into WrestleMania 37 season. Whether or not a championship would be a part of Becky Lynch's and Ronda Rousey's rivalry next year remains to be seen, but considering Becky and Ronda are arguably the two biggest women's division superstars WWE could possibly present at the Showcase of the Immortals, it definitely would not be surprising if one of the two main roster women's titles is involved in their storyline, most likely the Raw Women's Championship, considering that was the brand that Becky Lynch was last performing on before taking some time off to start a family with Seth Rollins. Let us know your thoughts on Becky Lynch's rumored return at the 2021 Royal Rumble, and as well Ronda's return at the event as well, to kickstart their feud for next year's WrestleMania event. And do you believe that if WWE are in fact planning another storyline between the returning Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch for WrestleMania 37, should there be a championship involved? Or do you believe that this should instead be a non-title singles feud, which would therefore let some of the WWE's other women's division superstars have a chance to shine in the spotlight in a big title match? Also, in your opinion, does the 2021 Royal Rumble seem a bit too early for Becky Lynch to return? Or is Vince wise to get Becky Lynch back into a prominent storyline for WrestleMania 37 as soon as possible, to add some excitement to the women's division in WWE? When Matt Riddle joined the WWE's main roster, as usual, many wrestling fans, and more specifically, Matt Riddle's fans, were skeptical and unsure of how Matt Riddle would be utilized on Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. And while many NXT superstars who get called up to the main roster end up getting wasted or misused even if the superstars themselves are doing everything they can to succeed and catch Vince's attention, but in Matt Riddle's case, his road on the main roster so far has been especially bumpy, considering Matt Riddle reportedly not only has backstage heat with WWE officials and upper management, but Riddle also has issues with many of the WWE's top stars, including now most recently Seth Rollins. As expected, most of Matt Riddle's fans are worried that he will essentially be misused by WWE on purpose moving forward, and unfortunately, it looks as though Vince has already lost a lot of faith in Matt Riddle with the latest decision regarding Matt Riddle that has baffled fans. For those of you unaware, earlier today, it was revealed that the WWE have decided to officially change Matt's ring name from Matt Riddle to simply Riddle as of today, and not surprisingly, most aren't very keen on this name change for Matt Riddle, and believe that it's an indication that Vince has already thrown in the towel, so to speak, where Riddle's concerned, and has no plans to give Riddle the push that many feel he deserves. Let us know your thoughts on WWE apparently souring on Matt Riddle to some extent recently as a top star in WWE, and your opinion of WWE changing his name to simply Riddle moving forward. Do you think that at this point, WWE should just send Matt Riddle back to NXT, considering his main roster career is seeming like it's heading down the tubes lately? It cannot be denied that The Miz shocked the wrestling world this past weekend at Hell in a Cell 2020, with The Miz shockingly winning Otis's Money in the Bank briefcase, and when the main event of Hell in a Cell concluded with Randy Orton defeating Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, there's no doubt that most fans immediately thought of a very similar scenario that had occurred back in 2010, when Randy Orton was the reigning WWE Champion, and The Miz was lurking around with the Money in the Bank briefcase in hand, looking to find the perfect opportunity to strike strike and take Orton's title, which is what inevitably happened in 2010, with The Miz winning Randy Orton's WWE Championship after a successful cash-in. However, while some fans believe WWE will be doing the same storyline now 10 years later, with The Miz using his newly won briefcase on Randy Orton, according to a new backstage rumor, that will not be the case. A new rumor states that Vince McMahon is not actually planning for The Miz to be WWE Champion anytime soon, and is allegedly planning for The Miz to have his cash-in attempt on Randy Orton backfire and fail, likely with John Morrison costing The Miz his huge opportunity against Randy Orton, thus beginning the John Morrison vs Miz feud for 2021. And we have been told that Vince felt having The Miz win the briefcase from Modus was a good plan to add a bit of excitement and intrigue to Monday Night Raw over the next several weeks. But as of right now, there are no plans for The Miz to be WWE Champion again, and the Money in the Bank briefcase is reportedly mainly being used to kickstart The Miz's feud with John Morrison. We now have our main story for this video, and it is in regards to the new big rumors that have started to go around regarding a huge possible swerve or unexpected development at the WWE's next pay-per-view event, Survivor Series 2020, which is shaping up to be a very big and monumental pay-per-view for WWE this year, if rumors prove to be true. Like most years, there will be the traditional Team Raw vs Team SmackDown Survivor Series matches at the pay-per-view this year, along with the WWE's brand's top champions facing off to find out who's the better champion. But according to a new backstage rumor, McMahon may be planning a huge twist or surprise for Survivor Series 2020. As most of you are well aware, WWE have announced that at Survivor Series, the new WWE Champion Randy Orton will be facing off against SmackDown's Universal Champion Roman Reigns in a big champion versus champion match. And while as of right now this is simply a non-title singles match between Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, one of our sources has mentioned that Vince McMahon is currently considering the idea of making this match a winner-takes-all kind of scenario, with Randy Orton and Roman Reigns both putting their world titles on the line, with the winner taking both championships. We have been told that if this rumor is indeed true, and Vince is in fact planning to shock fans and make Survivor Series 2020 far more interesting and appealing to fans by making Orton and Reigns defend their championships against each other, in the coming weeks on behalf of Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman would basically begin cutting promos on SmackDown, where Heyman basically targets Randy Orton and proclaims that he's not at his client Roman Reigns' level, and that Reigns would be willing to put the title on the line, and that if Randy Orton is the dominant champion, he would like fans to believe that he should put his championship on the line as well, in which Orton would reportedly eventually accept during a confrontation between Roman Reigns and Randy Orton on Raw, with Roman Reigns rumored to win Randy Orton's WWE title at Survivor Series 2020 and become a double champion if the scenario becomes a reality. It's unknown if Vince plans to unify the WWE and Universal titles, but one source mentioned that the most likely scenario would see Roman Reigns lose the WWE title back to Randy Orton at the next pay-per-view event TLC 2020, and that Reigns becoming a double champion for a short bit of time is simply a way Vince feels would increase the WWE's ratings, specifically for Friday Night SmackDown, and truly cement Roman Reigns as the most dominant superstar in WWE.